welcome to Dream Chaser TV. I'm your host, Mira. On today's show, I have my brother, Trevor Foster, also known as Born Truth Allah. Please welcome Trevor Foster to the show today, everybody.
Peace. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to have you on the show, man. Let me get a handshake.
Definitely, brother.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about, Trevor Foster. What's going on with you right now? You're well known here in Hartford, but I'd like to just let you kind of tell, the audience, the listeners, who you are, what you do, and what you have to say to them.
Well, Trevor Foster, he went through a demise in his life. He came back. What he did when he brought back is a lot of ambition, a lot of dreams that was actually deferred. And when I replaced some of my old dreams with new dreams, that's why I'm glad to be on this show. It's just exciting. There's so much just to get out that's inside of me. What I'm bringing back right now is me, the actual me. It takes a lot of time to get to know oneself, and that's what I'm bringing to the table. And I grew up in a situation in various housing projects, and we always had community days and things of that nature. So I try to create that kind of fanfare for the children and for adults as well. Bring their children throughout the year. Just different events.
Now you said something just then about wanting to replace old dreams with new dreams. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me? Because I want to make sure that people, they might have missed that, and I think that's an important thing to kind of talk about.
Well, when you're young, you dream big. And using an example, I'm 42 years old. I can't be no Jordan right now. Some of those things like that surpass me. So I replaced the dreams of going to the NBA with newer dreams. Like aborting the situation. I haven't aborted my lifestyle and the things I want to do and my achievements that I want to accomplish. But I replaced with newer dreams. And that's what life is all about. Creating something that you can actually live up to it. And we replace the word dream with goals. Attainable, reachable goals. That's what I try to do in my life.
Okay. So I know right now we're here at True Books in Hartford. So this is us going on location. This is the first time we decided to step out of, My People Clinical Services studio and get out here in the community. So we're here at True Books. Can you tell us how True Books came about?
Well, they say, to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. My mother was very, very inspirational. I had a problem when I was young. 2 years old, a speech impediment, things of that nature. I went to a program, but my mother ended up teaching me how to read. Somebody in kindergarten actually reading. I used to say fruck instead of truck. I used to make animal sounds to get the things I really wanted. So she was very inspirational on you have to know how to read. So in the back of my mindset was, man, when I started reading to get into I read Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali book and things like that. As a young man, I was always at the library. And then my mother introduced me to reading in that fundamental way. And then as time went on, I always was giving people books. And I was in the city up in New York one day, and I was at a book stand. When I was at that book stand, suddenly a light went off in my head. It was like, you're supposed to be doing this, There was a young lady with me at the time, and she was fighting over a Willie Lynch book, The Making of a Slave,
Right.
And she actually won, and I bought it for her. And I said to myself, that's what I gotta do. I gotta open up a bookstore, and bring it back to the people. I named it True Books. It was truth, the T, as an acronym, it's truth reigns universal, like only one's kinship struggles. So the bookstore is not only a representation of me, bringing it to fruition, a dream, but also a representation of our past, the people that made me to be able to be here on your show.
Well, one of the things also I think is powerful is that what you just said about how the dream came about. It's like you had a moment where it kind of almost hit you in the head, like this is what you're supposed to do. And so what does that feel like to be able to get, to start off at a point where it comes to your mind that this is something you're supposed to do, and then there are certain things you had to do to get here. So, what did it feel like first to have that moment, and then what were the things you had to do to actually make the store come about?
Well, it had to be a determination in me. Once it clicked, this is my niche, and I have to do this. This is something that's. It's funny you ask me that question because when you're involved in something, you never reflect back on what's the reason and why. It's just something that you really got to get out there and do. It's a healthy impatience. The healthy impatience, even when you're in your bed, you want to get up, you want to go do something that's going to help you to take the necessary steps. And in a sense, I actually know in my heart, I felt as though I wasn't taught business. So it wasn't no business plan to go about. This was just a gung-ho thing that, boom, making phone calls, interacting with people, asking questions over and over again, and it just set it in motion. You know?
So how long has True Books been in existence?
It's been in existence since 2002. The physical, it was in my mindset way before then. But in 2002, we brought it to the streets. I was working for this thing called Yo Hartford, and I was selling books, amongst my coworkers. And then I said, I gotta build my market up. I know when they get paid. So then I said, I'm just gonna take it to the streets. So I put it on Main Street in front of the club, Main and Tower. And I went out there first. People was, was wondering, what you got? And when I told them, I said, he said, oh man, Trevor went crazy. And I made those same people my best customers. And as a transition from the spring to the summer to winter, I said I gotta find a location. And then I brought it into 3155 Main Street. And I've been there ever since.
One of the things you mentioned also was about when you started, it wasn't about, okay, I wrote my business plan, I got all this stuff. You said you just had to kind of go with what you know. So if you could go back in time with the information you have now, after being in business for 9 years, what would you do different?
What I would do different is, and I put this out to anybody, I would really not ask so many people. I asked some people and they kind of told me some bad information because they didn't really want me to start a business based on them previously having businesses. So they didn't want to see me go into business. They didn't want me to fail. But what I would do a little differently is I would sharpen up on my business courses. So with anything, that make me well-rounded. I think we got a certain fear of learning new things at times, like QuickBooks, Pro, stuff like that. Nobody introduced us to that kind of business stuff, and now we need to really get sharpened up on it. I'm asking you to track it now to move forward because you have to align yourself up with that information.
So if you had a young person, they had a dream, and they came to you for advice, what would you say to them? What message would you give? Look in the camera right there and just tell the young people out there that are going to watch this a message you have for them about chasing their dreams.
Don't let nobody, don't let anyone deter you. If anything's possible, make it happen. Make it happen. That's what I would tell them.
So you have some other things that are going on right now as well. So you have True Books. Tell us about all the other, programs, products,
okay.
events. Yeah.
Well, not to leave it like this. Get into your culture as well. Get into your culture. I believe, I'm a firm believer. It doesn't even believe is doubt, but to know it is even more better. But what it is within myself, I created True Books. True Books is actually a community thing. I don't take people responsible for this. This is us coming together as one. True Inflatables. I used to rent the moon bounces for individuals, so I decided to buy the moon bounces myself and rent them out to other individuals. True Improvements, home improvement, things like that. Whatever it is I see somebody else doing and I want to do it, I go out and I do it.
So you're a serious dream chaser. You don't let the barriers of
there is no barriers.
Okay. Right.
But this year, it's 2011, so now it's knowledge year. I think that 2011 is going to be the year of the power of association. The power of association. That's what's going to get us ahead. Like me knowing you, and you knowing somebody else. Without no you, can't be no me.
Right.
We
We just talked about that last week, right? We were saying we need to get a group of African American males together and share, what we do.
Right.
Just meet, just to say, hey, this is what I do. What do you do?
Exactly.
And make that kind of communication. If I asked you, what never stop dreaming, what that phrase means, what would you say?
It would say you have to learn from the cradle to the grave. And in the mindset, you're conscious of being conscious. And you need to tag into what's the makeup of you and keep moving with it. And don't lay down. My grandfather always told me, if you fall down, brush yourself off and get back up. A lot of our people are afraid of getting up. When what it is, I was just saying to myself, diet is important. We should put out information on what's in your diet. What are you taking in, physically, mentally, spiritually? Keep it moving.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any special shout outs you want to give? Any people you want to just say anything to before we wrap up?
Well, I would definitely want to shout out to my mother. She's been very, very inspirational in my life and my development. as times I used to sit on our bed and talk to her, and that took a lot of weight off a person's shoulder, because now I'm really getting to see how difficult it is to be a man in society where it's a lot of facades, not true men. And I notice now that we've been raised by women. We've been raised coming over into this country over here. We were raised by a lot of women. They did a great job, and we never actually seen men actually really physically working on a daily basis, getting up and leaving and seeing that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my mother.
All right, well, you know, I have to thank you for coming on Dream Chaser TV. You know, as more events and different things come up, you know, maybe we'll come by the next event that's coming up. What's the next event that's coming up, the closest thing?
Oh, the closest thing is we have poets everywhere. Poets, you got anything you want to say to get off your chest or whatever? Yes, we're having a fundraiser on March 25th in the Atrium, 550 Main Street. That's actually the fundraiser for the No More Violence Teen Talent Competition, the 10th annual one.
Dream Chasers, never stop dreaming.
Peace.
Peace. All right, so we just had another episode of Dream Chaser TV. Before I go, I'd like to give a shout out to Any Video, of course, my main man Fred at Planet 12, My People Clinical Services, True Books here in Hartford. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at never STPDRMING. And on Facebook, please join our group, Dream Chasers Never Stop Dreaming. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Abdul Rahman I Muhammad. I think that's it, everybody. Dream Chasers, never stop dreaming. See you next week.